Howdy everybody, it's me, Madam Onça, and we are back for some Totally Tea and Tarot. We're working our way through the fives, and given how mirthless they are, I decided to go for my cat's ears of levity. We have been not only working our way through the fives, which are challenging, numerologically speaking. They do represent, essentially, the 5 points of humanity. Arms, legs, and head. So they represent sort of a microcosm of ourselves and ourselves in conflict, particularly in this case, because all of these fives are very chaotic. We're also talking about tea and herbs that have been corresponded with them. Today we're going to be working with the Five of Pentacles, or discs, or stones, or shields, depending who you ask. It's one of those mutable titles, but we're going to be working with that card and the herb that has been corresponded to it by the Herbal Tarot folks is Mugwort. If you're not familiar with Mugwort, it is a friend of the person with sleep issues. Mugwort is very soothing, and it gets used. It gets used by folks who are looking for lucid dreaming, people who are looking to sleep better. And also I have read that it is useful in regulating irregular periods, which is afflict, 51% of the adult population or whatever at some point in their lives. So mugwort. In Japan, also they use it to make mochi, which is that delicious sort of rice, not pastry exactly, but like rice paste that gets turned to dessert. Mugwort mochi is quite good. That is an easy way for you to sneak some mugwort into your diet. Go to your Asian market and ask for mugwort mochi, and that would be a way to experience a little bit more with that. So it's soothing, and soothing will come in handy because, once again, the fives are difficult. So fives are chaotic, as we have discussed, and discs or swords, discs or stones or pentacles, whatever you might want to call them. The suit that represents the element of earth, there's a very carnal, corporeal aspect to those stressors. And the other cards we've talked about, having emotional conflict in your relationships, emotional or feeling defeated. But in the Five of Pentacles, we are specifically talking about chronic poverty, chronic illness, a dearth of resources. I mean, this really literally cuts close to the bone, to the meat puppet that is who we are. So the decks that we've been working with through our fives we've got the lovely, this is the Legend of Arthurian Tarot here. We've got Steevee Postman's Cosmic Tribe, super fun. And then this is the original edition of my own World Spirit Tarot. The new edition has a different, and may I say, snazzier back. But this is the old school one. If you want to buy that on Amazon, it's too expensive for me to buy. So, and these other decks have just come to me over the years. So let's just check in quick. So what this describes, Pentacles, we say, represent health and wealth. So it's literally what's going on with your body, what's going on with your resources. That can overlap into time management because the modern era. And yeah, we know time is a mammalian illusion created by our brains moving through space. Physics aside, our experience is different. So with this suit, what comes up is a sense of not having enough, and often it means feeling betrayed by the system. Steevee Postman illustrates this neatly in his, because here's a person clearly experiencing tremendous grief, tremendous stressors, and that pentacle, comprised of discs, as it were, are gears. So I would go out on a limb and take this as a comment on the military-industrial complex and what it has done to the earth and to our bodies. So here we see a person under tremendous stress. And if you don't already know, typically when you see the point down on the pentacle, it refers not necessarily to anything diabolical, but it generally just means things are out of balance. If that top point of your pentacle refers to sort of mind and spirit running the show as compared to running from instinct. Likewise, when that point is down, it means that we're running on sort of instinct, pleasure centers, fear. It's just a potentially imbalance. So we see here stress, and there's a clear sense of it has to do with what humans do to each other. Now, in this Arthurian version, this one is referred to as the Wasteland, and she uses shields, the 5 of shields, in keeping with her Arthurian story. So we see way down here in the bottom, hopefully that's in focus, it's the Wasteland. There's nothing good happening there. You might even call that a bit of a, like a dark night of the soul kind of experience. So there's a sense of, not enough good water, not enough food, not enough shelter, not enough companionship. Civilization has literally let them down, and now they're wandering the wastes. Very biblical. And then here's my version, which again is very much a Rider-Waite Smith. Sorry, Pamela Coleman Smith was the smartest ever. In spite of the limitations of her time, she was a genius. So this is really just a reiteration of her work. I will say, as a young artist, I was living in a yurt. I was hauling my water. We didn't have cell phones then, so I actually had them attach a phone line to the outside of my yurt, and I kept it outside under a bucket so I could go out and answer the phone. In that time, I was definitely living close to the bone, and things were cold, and I sustained cold-related injuries from being consistently poor when I was a young, dumb artist. This card came up for me all of the time. So in the 5 of Pentacles, you see here's this person. Have they been shut out of the church or the home? Or do they not know there's someone there who could help them? This image asks a lot of questions. But when it comes up for us, it generally means a sense of chronic poverty or feeling left out or feeling failed by the system. And again, I want to reiterate that because of this notion of exposure in the worst sense, there is an element of risk in this card. Like for example, my fingers have never been the same from that time of being cold. So know that when this card comes up, it may just be a constant reminder from the world saying, yeah, you're still broke. Yeah, the system still isn't working for you. Yeah, you still need to figure out how to transform your fate. It may also be a little bit like, no, really, like you need to figure something out, because the choices that you make or the situations that you endure, I should say, can inform your future, even if you transform your circumstances. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to moralize about it. I'm just saying, don't do what I did. That's really what I'm doing. But trying not to come from a place of like uber privilege, because maybe we don't know what else to do. Anyway, so when this card comes up, it describes being genuinely cold, genuinely hungry, genuinely in danger, and genuinely, I hope for you that you are able to make a change and get out of that wasteland and get out from underneath those cogs of industry that do not have your best interest at heart. Hope I wasn't too moralistic about that. I just have strong feelings. Hence the cat ears. A reminder to levity. So that's pretty much it for today. Again, Mugwort, very soothing. Make yourself a cup before you read these cards. Here's a quick study note. When I was working the cards to learn, I got all the books that I could, that I could find in the pre-internet time. And there's probably 10 or 12 books by different artists. And I went through every week and did a comparison of what every artist and every writer said about their work. And I looked for those threads of commonality that seemed to unite them all. And I remember distinctly that one of these cards, I think it was the 5 of Wands, there was a deck that I was reading that was like, we don't really like competition and we don't believe in it, so we've replaced that meaning with this other, I don't remember what it really was, but I sarcastically refer to it as the 5 of potlucks, something kind of Pollyannish. And it's really important to know that the cards have to describe horrible things like poverty, like unwelcome domination, like competition at its worst. Because if you take the words away, if you take the cards and the meanings, the drawings away that describe those things, it's like when moralists want to eliminate words like breast and vagina from the internet. They think they're trying to save people from perversion, but really it just means that we don't have words to describe actual things that are happening, like breast cancer. So it's really important to let the cards have their words, even if their words, by which I mean their images, are scary, and don't be scared by them. Just be grateful that they're there and that they provide you with tools. And as I worked my way through the cards, it meant that, when I got to that Five of Swords week or that Five of Pentacles week, I was really, if you want to be woo-woo about it, I was really asked in each of those weeks to confront something about what those cards described. So it's an amazing way to get to learn the cards in a really visceral way. But boy, when you get to the 10s, that's a tough month. You get to the 5s, that's a tough month. So it's a great thing also to not only really dig in, but also to have some support. Be working with somebody else who gets you and gets it, if you possibly can. And of course, the internet is full of very exciting tarot forums and stuff too, so you can reach out to other people. Okay, that's me. It's been 10 minutes. My name is Madame Onça, and this has been the last of your 5s in the tarot. You can find me on the internet. My deck is available on Etsy, on Amazon. You can find me on the Patreon to get access to these videos. And I'm always happy to talk to you about cards. Blessed be.